In the gym and in the car, with our advice you could go far. We fuck things up and we make mistakes, and talk about our sexy dates. We host events and go to clubs, but most of all we're still in love. It's getting hard for this to rhyme, just as well, 'cause it's bed hopping time.
Hello and welcome to the Bed Hoppers podcast. My name's Mr. H.
I'm Mrs. H.
Thank you for joining us today while I am full cold. This is episode 157. If my voice sounds funny, it's because I have a naturally funny voice, but also because I have a cold.
No. You have fucking swinger flu.
Swinger flu?
You have fucking swinger flu.
Fucking swinger flu, darling.
So I'm not joined by Mr. H today. I don't know who I'm joined by.
Why have you become a pirate of the Caribbean?
Some kind of swinger Lothario has replaced you.
I don't think you can really call me a swinger
are you
Lothario.
Sure? Should we explore it?
Well, we are going to explore some of that.
It rhymed.
Okay, good. So I think we're going to call this one like our slutty weekend, and we'll come on to that. Although, actually, that has nothing to do with my voice that weekend. It's the previous weekend.
Ah, okay. Yes.
There I was. Yeah, It was fine. Anyways, this is episode 157. We've got a small amount of admin that we want to get out of the way.
And it's going to be very small because you haven't got much voice.
Well, you said that you're going to drive this one and that you shall deliver all the voice.
I will.
And all the details.
All of the voice
and
talent.
all the naughty bits you're going to describe in great sordid detail. And
Slutty McSluttersons.
Slutty McSlutterson, I expect.
Yeah.
Dripping pussies.
Oh
and
my God, no.
Cocks spaffing all over the place.
Where were you?
Where was I?
Was I somewhere else? I am not saying the P word.
Yeah, you will. You'll be fine. Anyway, the one thing that I do want to mention before we get into the cut and thrust of this episode is we've got our Hot Summer Nights party on the 15th of July at Penthouse Playrooms.
Yes.
Now, this is a really cool party, and we've only got a few tickets left, so there's still a chance to get some. We're actually taking over a hotel as well at the same time. So you get to stay in a hotel full of wonderful lifestyle swinging people and also go to a wonderful club and have an amazing night.
Yes.
So that means you get to all live the shame of what you did the night before when you turn up in the lobby the next day.
And you two can all get swinger flu.
Yes, exactly. You two could sound as cool as I do. Like your voice is gone and it's all rumbly and like you're auditioning for James Earl Jones.
Note, I do not have swinger flu.
Yeah, I know. It's funny that, isn't it?
Yes.
I know, right?
Really interesting.
I think I was just due a cold.
You can't, I keep saying you can't be due
Don't
a
you
cold.
keep calling me a can't?
You don't like book it into your calendar and have like a bi-monthly cold.
What? This is not true.
You've contracted this because you have been kissing people.
Well, it's funny you should say that because
it is, isn't it?
there was a situation that we're going to talk about soon.
A situation.
Where we weren't going to be kissing people and then all of a sudden
Then all of a sudden you were.
Somebody was, which was you primarily. And but you were lucky enough not to get a cold off the back of it. So
elucidate.
I will elucidate as long as my voice holds up. But firstly,
elucidate.
I am a loose date. It's very true, especially after the copious amount of alcohol that we consumed over our slutty weekend.
Yeah.
So we recently held our own social.
Yeah.
Oh, before I get into that, if you want to get tickets to the Hot Summer Nights party, and we'd love you to come along, check out the show notes, look us up on Twitter, find us on Fab, wherever you find us, basically. Yeah. And you'll be able to...
Mostly in a pharmacy at the moment. Do you know what, right? I've got a random thought of the day. Do you want to hear it?
Go for it. Go for it.
It will give your beautiful pipes a chance to rest whilst I muse through this, what I've been musing on today.
Okay, go on then.
Now, don't laugh at me. But you know, it's when I say that, it's going to be something stupid, right?
Yeah, I'm kind of bracing myself for this.
Okay.
I can't laugh too much. You've got to be careful.
So this is my random thought that is going through my head today. So I went to the doctors today, right? And so I'm not going to go into all that, but I went to the doctors and I had an examination that involved removing some underwear.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And whilst that was happening, to take my mind off all this, I had a random thought.
Were you playing Pokemon? Because that wouldn't surprise me if that was...
I had to make eye contact with the doctor for some reason. Anyway.
Okay.
My random thought was this, right? Now, I'm not like a big deal or anything or a celebrity in the world of any kind of thing, although we do have a bit of a Twitter following.
You're really not a celebrity.
Right, but no, you need to listen because this is what I'm musing, right?
Okay, all right.
It occurred to me that when famous people go to the doctors or the hospital or to have an examination involving any kind of parts that are covered by clothes normally.
Are you thinking about how they break the Hippocratic Oath and go home and like,
don't steal my thunder.
Okay, all right.
You've got no voice, remember? Pipe down.
All right, I'm sorry.
What was going through my head, right, was I wonder if doctors and nurses and whatnot sit there and think, I recognise this celeb in front of me. I recognise this person. No, I recognise this person. It's like someone who's been on telly or someone who's famous. And I wonder if, they have their own celebrity medical panel that they go to avoid the shame of just going to a random GP and taking their knickers off and letting the doctor see all their nervations. Or do you think they just like suck it up and go, you know what, I've got to go and have someone look at my muff today. So this is happening. And if he recognises me, then so be it.
Well, I imagine it's a bit of column A, column B, depending on how much money they've got and where they live. Yeah. So if in the UK, they might well just go to a regular doctor they've been registered to or for a long time. So it makes sense to go to that doctor because they know your history, they know how you can react. Yeah. But if you've got a fucking ton of money, then you might as well throw it at,
Yeah, but what if you have to go there like as an emergency? Do you reckon Gwyneth Paltrow like strolls into A&E and they're like, oh, I've seen this muff before on a candle?
I imagine that they go to more private clinics. Sort of.
I wonder what level of status you have to be celebrised to get.
I don't think it's celebrity based. I think it's money based.
Fast track that.
I think there is a level of money that you throw at the problem. I don't think because don't forget you pay for healthcare in the States quite substantially.
So British ones then?
Don't know. I imagine they go through things like Bupa or whatever.
So us mere like Z-listers have to cope with the shame of like getting our knickers off on a Wednesday afternoon in the doctors and wondering if I wonder if anyone goes and they're sort of wondering, I always wanted to see this person's mouth and here it is.
We're in Southampton, right? Are you thinking that like our doctor has seen like Craig David's like penis at some point?
Maybe. Or back in the day, Benny Hill. And
there ends the famous people from our local area.
No, there's someone else. The chap who played Bane, Tom Hardy.
Isn't he more
He's got some Southampton connections.
Does he? I think he was more Portsmouth. But anyway, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. There's the southern area.
Okay. Well, we've got a lot to cover, but thank you for that interesting diversion.
You're welcome. I mean, that took me through a whole 15 minutes when I was in the surgery, like thinking to myself. Yeah.
So we're going to talk about a long weekend that we had quite recently. We held our social, which we talked about in previous episodes, that sold out really quickly.
Oh, yeah.
So we had 50 lifestyle people, 50 lifestyle folks turning up at a secret hidden location, cocktail bar, and having a whole night together. Vanilla setting.
Yes, extremely.
Pretty much vanilla venue, and vanilla.
Very classy.
Yeah, very classy.
Very vanilla.
I think, and we'll go on to a little bit about that and that whole approach in a minute. But first, before we got there,
we had a delightfully boozy night with friends on Thursday night. We had some bottomless cocktails and martinis, which went on into the early hours of the evening. We managed a little bit of a lay-in, I guess, on the Friday morning.
Oh, yeah, but we had to be like stupidly early at haircuts and whatnot the next day.
I had a haircut reserved for like 12. And I appreciate this is just us talking about the weekend. There are some bits and bobs involved in this that may be a moral or maybe a sexy story. We'll see how it pans out. But so I had a haircut and I got there and I the first thing I said to them, I'm feeling a bit hungover. I'm sorry, like if I'm like a bit crap, talking and whatever today. And they went, well, today we're actually offering a free drink for every customer. And I was like, oh, go on then.
Sign me up.
Sign me up. So I had a cheeky little rum and coke there. And actually that did perk me up.
And please tell me, they said, something for the weekend, sir.
Something with short back and sides, please. What made me laugh about that day is that you did a run.
Why? What on earth was I doing?
I think we were sort of in this sort of vague, let's get back to normal sort of thought process. And then I had a training session that afternoon.
Oh my goodness. I don't know what got into me. But I managed to do a fairly respectable run.
Well, it was lovely, wasn't it? To be fair, we did quite well. And then we were like, what are we going to do for tea? And then we went to one of our favourite restaurants, like a charcuterie place, and that was really lovely. And actually, we were able to catch up with a couple of people that had come down early for the social.
Yeah.
So we caught up with the friends, the Disnerds.
Yes.
And Curious Couple as well.
Yes.
They've got a number after them, but I'm not sure which number that is. But anyway, fine. Say hello. We'll tag you in it or something if you want. But that was really nice, and that we got to have a little bit of moment before the madness of just having a bite to eat. We weren't really drinking that night.
No, I wasn't. Had 2 drinks maybe because, again, I'm not a monster.
No, not a monster at all. And having a bit of a sort of chat and catch up with some friends, really. And that was a nice lead in to the sort of, we knew that the Saturday was always going to be quite hectic.
Yeah.
So having that calm before the storm was really useful.
But then Saturday, everyone came down.
Well, yeah, Saturday.
All our friends.
Lots of people
Stag and Vixen arrived. And, the lovely pina coladas, I want to say. 2 pina coladas.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're called. I don't do Twitter so much, as you know.
Yeah, I know that. I know.
And we all came around and you made like a million lemon drop cocktails.
I was absolutely in full on host mode because they all came to us, and Secret Stag and Secret Vixen were staying at ours, in fact.
Yeah,
they've got a key to the house, so they might as well. It makes sense. And then the pina coladas.
Next time you can mow the bloody lawn. He stays here so much.
We'll try that. We'll see if we can get that to work. Good luck convincing either one of them to mow the lawn. This can be your challenge for the next time. Anyway, so I was in full on host mode, making cocktails, making food. And then we got to about an hour and a half before we had to start getting ready. And it was a bit of a sort of run around the house.
I know.
Sort of everyone quickly showering, chucking stuff on.
I was like, I know I've got like at least 3 hours to get ready. It'd be fine. No, left myself about 90 minutes in the end. Absolute madness. So, but that's fine because then I didn't have to like faff around like procrastinating about things. I just literally went and got ready, which was good. And then we all piled into a cab and we went to the venue.
Now, before we start talking about the event and how that went, I want to talk a little bit about sort of how we handle social events, because I think that's really important. And one of our sort of rules is that typically, because we do a few different kind of events, but one of them is what we call the social. Yeah. The social is normally in a vanilla venue. We don't normally tell the people that we're hosting a bunch of swingers or lifestyle folks or ethically non-monogamous people, because one of the things that we're worried about, or that concerns us sometimes, is that people might be identified. And the last thing we'd want is for people to know that the venue is holding this sort of event with this sort of people.
And the event owners know that the kind of people that are frequenting the party. Yeah. So that's one of the reasons. But one of the other reasons is it's a tremendous amount of extra admin in a sense, because you need to have some additional conversations, I think, to try and frame the event you're having and reassure them. But it just happens to be a collection of people with, a common hobby. And it doesn't necessarily mean that everyone's going to be, getting down to some crazy Roman orgy. It just means that, we may have some more colourful conversations, or there might be some flirting and some light making out, maybe.
Well, I think this is the thing, is that we know realistically that getting a bunch of swingers together is going to be, there's going to be moments where people don't behave the way that you'd anticipate. And I think previous socials, we've had some moments where people have made out, and that's fine. We can live with that because that would happen in a normal club and whatever.
It would happen at any work party.
At our Christmas one, it escalated to the point where there was a make-out circle. There was some, shall we say, some action in the middle of the dance floor. And there was also someone making out with someone else for like a whole period of time.
Yeah. There was definitely some lifting of skirts involved as well.
Yeah. So I think our reticence on sort of saying, hey, doing the like making out or whatever is fine, is because what we don't want to do is for things to escalate beyond the point where we can't control them anymore.
Yeah, it kind of opens the floodgates then, and it's almost like a carte blanche for you to just do what you want because we've said, hey, it's fine.
So occasionally when we put the rules out there and we say, okay, we'd ask that people behaved in a social setting as though they were out with their partner.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, I expect there would be a bit of kissing. I expect there's a bit of contact or whatever, but I wouldn't expect people to be dry humping in the corner. And I think that's the kind of line that we're trying to draw. But if you say, yeah, kissing and making out is fine when you're organising these things, then people will always escalate beyond what's deemed acceptable.
You went in and they take a mile.
This is really true. So we had a few people get in touch. I would say a few people. We had one person get in touch. It was sort of like, what's this deal with this kissing rule? And I think we had to be really honest and explain why we feel this is really important, because actually when you're hosting the event, when it's your money down the line and your reputation and also your local area, it's really important to try and protect that as much as you can. And if you're setting the rules, you need people to be able to behave.
Plus you want to go back to the venue maybe without the shame of them saying, oh, I knew it. you bunch of swingers can't even behave in a public environment for a few hours, and that's really not the case.
And that's where we've kind of stood with it, particularly having had our fingers burned at the last event, or one of our last events. We wanted to encourage people to behave in the right way, obviously within the sort of flexibility of knowing that a few people are going to make out and it's going to be a bit flirty, but that's probably where we're going to end up.
Yeah.
But it is quite difficult because you have to manage people's expectations of what they're going to get at the event. And if people are new, the last thing we'd want to do is for everyone to be frightened away because it's a whole sort of fucking make-out circle.
Well, that's the other thing. There's so many new people at these things sometimes, and you don't want, as you say, you don't want them running scared and thinking, my God, I've come to a party and already people are exposing breasts and, lifting dresses and things. So you just don't want people to run scared and think that that's the norm.
Yeah.
But when, we get together in a public place.
And I think we were already in a space where I think my perception of the last event, and we talked about this on one of our podcasts, was that I'd had a bit of a sort of negative experience hosting the event. So I was really I was a little bit anxious about the event, although it was a group of really 50 really close people, relatively close people that we've met before or have been to our previous events. I was still a little bit anxious about the whole thing because I'd had that negative experience at a thing that we'd done. So I wanted this one to go really well. I wanted people to be on top form, but also I was really looking forward to seeing everybody.
Yeah, me too.
So how did it go, dear? Talk about it a bit.
Are you going to stop talking?
My voice is going. I'm doing my best.
Good. Thank God, I'll get a word in edgeways. Yeah, do you know what? It was an absolutely lovely, lovely feeling to just see people we know start to come through the doors and, say hello to people and, give them a drink and a little goodie thing. It's really lovely. So it started filling up quite a lot, actually. And we were a bit worried about size, I think, at one point of the venue. We weren't sure how it would feel when they were at full capacity. But actually we had the patio doors as well, and it was all moved around furniture-wise so everyone could stand if they wanted, and there was plenty of seats. We had some lovely food around as well, which was really lovely. And so all our guests arrived pretty much by, I don't know, like 9, 10 o'clock maybe.
I think so. Pretty much before then.
Bar staff were amazing. They were just like knocking out amazing cocktails all night. And it was absolutely fabulous to see everyone looking amazing. Everyone dressed beautifully.
I think there were a couple of things of note that sprang to mind. So we'd created a playlist for the event, as we often do for these kind of things. And I'd created like a 3.5 hour piece of this playlist, and then you'd added another 3 hours to it. And we started playing it, and it was playing all of my part of the playlist first, which you're absolutely vehemently against. You're like, no, we're not having done this. We need to do a shuffle. Shuffle it. So then it became a game, people, as to guess which one of us had picked that song, which is good fun.
Yes.
Just random people coming up to me and going, is this your song? No, it's not yours. And then DuckTales came on and everyone knew it was my song, clearly, because that kind of worked. I think there was a really good atmosphere and people were really engaging. There weren't many absolute dicks, to be fair.
No, I don't think I saw any dicks, actually.
No, I think people generally...
Not physical or literal.
I think generally people were relatively well behaved. Though at one stage, I mean, people were starting to push boundaries. I think typically it gets to about 3/4 of the night in, and people have gone through that chatty phase. They're kind of excited. They've settled in.
Made some connections already.
And then sometimes the odd kiss starts to happen.
Yeah, and I was expecting that to happen, to be fair, because that's not terrible. That's
what
fine.
I did not expect, though, was for a bunch of people to come running, because there was a little outside space in this, inside to tell me that Mrs. H had kissed somebody.
Egads.
Surely not. But this is exactly what happened.
Oh, really?
It was like a swathe of people, and it was almost like, it's on. She's doing it. So the rules are broken. The floodgates are open. Let the orgying commence. It was almost this sort of domino effect of people coming through. So I didn't witness this thing, but do you want to tell us what happened?
Of course. Well, I think people were being a little bit dramatic. I was sitting outside in the cooler air because it was quite warm, and I was talking to the lovely twofers, two of us.
Yep.
And oh goodness me, there were quite a few people out there. I think Disnerds might have been out there. You won't believe how many people have managed to cram outside. What was really funny was next door there was a club, and it was pumping out like the most ridiculous like dance music
like,
in their little like downstairs garden. It was just like, what? However, I digress. And then Lord Voldemort of his cocktail fame, I believe, came and pulled up a seat next to me.
Fame?
And sat next to me.
Okay, all right.
And we were just having a little chat, and it's really nice to reconnect with them, because I do miss seeing some of our longer standing sort of friends in my lifestyle that we don't always get to see as much. It was just a nice little reconnection. And there was a moment where I think we just shared a touch of the lips.
Oh, I see.
Mm-hmm.
You touched your lips.
We touched lips.
Do you want to elaborate on that? Which ones?
That was it. Oh, you fiend, you beast. No, not those lips. No, we leaned in and we literally just touched lips. I can 100% confirm there were no tongues, no open-mouthed kissing occurred, which sounds extremely clinical, but there was no open-mouthed kissing. No, none of that. There was absolutely none of that. It was literally a lean in, face-to-face, and a kind of a touch of the lips, and then we pulled apart again.
Okay.
That was it.
Well, the funny thing was that the reaction from people
was ridiculous.
It was crazy. It was a ripple of people coming through and did you see what Mrs. H has done this? We can do anything we want now.
Well, now I could understand it if I'd leaned in and there'd been some kind of real tonsil hockey going on, but there was not. But I think it was more the fact that we clearly had leaned in, and there was a moment, and possibly people misconstrued that to be a kind of, they're going to properly kiss, like
Maybe.
properly kiss, but we didn't. And you know what? There's CCTV at that place, and if I'm put to trial, I'm going to get it. Objection, hearsay.
Well, I think
there were no mega pints consumed.
Has that happened? I think there was a change in atmosphere. Certainly,
it was quite funny though,
where people had sort of. I think the other person had shared the kiss or whatever here and there and stuff, obviously.
It had been.
But I think people were a little bit more brazen about it. It's like, well, they can't tell me off.
In fact, already on that very balcony, not 10 minutes beforehand, there had been a couple of people who were kind of outside by the door, and one of them did turn to me and say, is this okay? And I said, you're outside, it's fine. Like, don't be a dick kind of thing,
And I think part of this is around, we want to be respectful to the venue.
Yeah,
and
of course.
Not make them feel awkward in this sort of situation. I mean, the whole thing went off really well. We stayed sort of like half an hour, 45 minutes later than normal. As per normal, right? Everyone's sort of like, hey, what's the after party? And I'm like, have we not done enough for you? Have we not organised enough of a party? And now you want the after party?
Before we gloss over this completely, though, good sir, it's worth noting here that Lord Snoggington of Snog Manor there.
Who's this?
You.
Oh, okay, me. What have I done?
We didn't. Well, after the alleged floodgates were opened, as you put it, it then did become a little bit more playful in the area. Generally speaking, people were just getting a little bit more, and just having a little kiss.
Yeah.
There was nothing more than that. I know that. It was absolutely fine. It was just more, there were more frequent kisses occurring.
Yeah.
And you were definitely one of them.
You kissed me.
No. You kissed a number of people.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I just don't want to gloss over that little fact.
Okay, I did that once. Everyone was like in that space where they were all really happy. I think what was really nice actually, because I did sort of give myself permission to sort of relax and chill out. And often when you're on hosting duty, and I said this in that previous episode, you kind of get carried away with trying to look after people, making sure that you're looking after everything, checking everything with the venue, and making sure you're on target for whatever drinks budget that you've got to hit, all this kind of stuff. And I think after a certain period, we sort of relaxed into it, and I let myself just chill out.
Yeah, no.
And I think as a result, I really enjoyed myself and had a really fun night.
Yeah, it was great.
But it there were some moments where I did kiss some people.
I only kissed one.
You only kissed one? No, you kissed two. At least two.
All right, you as well.
3 if you include me.
Hang on, who's the second one?
I will talk about this later. This definitely was a third one, I'm sure.
Lies.
I'm sure.
Sit on the throne of lies.
Yeah, no,
I'm fairly sure it was just.
Anyways,
just the two.
However, as per normal, we wrap up, and getting people out of there is like herding bloody cats, which is typically, it's never easy getting people to leave the venue. They've had a really good night. The venue themselves, once we managed to get everyone to clear out, and it was just really us and Secret Stag and Secret Vixen left, and the venue were really happy. They were really, really positive. They made a fuck ton of cash. And we always do badges for our events. It's something that I've always loved doing, and it gives people a little keepsake. And we try to make them sort of a bit naughty, but not sort of too obvious.
Yeah, no dicks going in tacos.
Yeah, nothing like that on the badges.
Imagine that'd be a funny badge.
But we were able to give the venue a couple of badges, and they were absolutely over the moon because the sort of badge referenced their venue in a way.
It's really nice.
So they were really, really chilled. They thought it was a really fun crowd. They were really happy about everything. They'd welcome us back. So I think we absolutely walked the line there on that one. And I think we managed to get it to a space where everyone felt they could interact with each other in a good way, but no one pushed the boat out so much that anyone was upset or any damage was done. So I
think lots of people then went and made their little connections in the various hotels they were staying at.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like, it was great because we jumped in a cab and it was really fun because as we were driving along in the cab, we could see all these sort of sets of couples ganging up together, and some of them were making out and some of them were holding hands and stuff as we left the venue. That was really, really cool. Less cool was that I was waving frantically at all of them and no one waved back at me, but that's fine. I mean, I understand.
Don't you know who I am?
Yes. Should have wound down the window and yelled out of the cab, but that would have been excessive at that time of night. Anyway, so the night didn't end there.
No, we went back to our abode.
And it ended up being quite a late night, right?
Oh, again.
Because we were just chatting and catching up and all this sort of stuff.
3 a.m. by this point.
And it's just us two and Secret Stag and Secret Vixen. And it's quite clear that Secret Vixen and I want to do a sex on each other.
All right.
I think that's quite apparent. I'm talking on her behalf. She'd probably absolutely kick my ass for saying that. But I think it's fair that we were like, hey, it'd be really nice if we had some fun and had some playtimes. You and Secret Stag were absolutely knackered.
Oh my God, we were so tired.
It was like they were leaning on each other.
Yeah.
And they kept nodding off, doing the old person on just resting my eyes, suddenly flinging themselves awake.
I'm not asleep. I'm just resting my eyes.
I could do a sex. Yeah. Oh. So
you absolute beast. I don't know where you got your energy from. Well, I was dead.
You always ask where I get my energy from. I don't think it ever really goes away.
Have you got like a secret stash of Red Bull somewhere?
No, I don't. I did swallow like about 12 batteries.
Oh. What?
So like literally the Energizer Bunny as well. So, but it was really funny because you two were like, well, we're not really going to do very much. We're just going to lie here. I
was physically incapable.
Well, I think you were both absolutely knackered, and you two lay there and cuddled, and then turned to us two and said, right, you've got 19 minutes.
I don't know why I gave that arbitrary figure.
I think that's because that took you to 3:30 in the morning or something to that point.
Yeah, actually, that's right.
Because that was your absolute cut-off.
I gave you an absolute time limit.
Deadline.
Like, get it done.
And it's like, right, you two have got that. And after that, we don't.
You're going to bed.
You're going to bed. And all the lights going off. The TV's going off. And we will smother you with a pillow until you are unconscious, which I think was
that could have started a whole new sex thing.
A whole new sex thing.
Yeah.
It's a very different angle. So Secret Vixen and I got to it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
While you two were cuddling.
Yeah.
So literally, I went down on her, and I'm sort of going down on her, and it's all very exciting. And I look up, and you two are literally sort of in each other's arms like koala bears,
sleeping,
pretty much sleeping.
We were genuinely
pretty much sort of dozing,
gently snoozing on the bed next to you because we had no energy for anything else.
And so she comes right, and it's not loud, but it's enough to stir the beast that is Secret Stag
a
little bit, and he wakes up and he's sort of
one bit of him awake.
Yeah, one bit of him is awake. So he's then sort of so he's playing with himself and you're playing with him. I think.
I was playing with him.
You were playing with him
in my sleep.
In your sleep, so you're sleep wanking him.
Yeah, I genuinely was sleep wanking him
whilst I start fucking Secret Vixen.
Basically, yes.
So, and think
he was happy to just let me crack on because he was too tired to raise his hand.
I think he was sort of propped up so he could just basically see what was going on.
Yeah.
If he sort of opened his eyes slightly.
Yeah. But I don't think he even needed to really open his eyes much because we were obviously we were next to stuff happening and we could hear noises and I basically sleep wanked him.
You sleep wanked him?
You fucked Vixen.
Because she pretty much had her legs over her head at this point because it was quite a, like, we got to do this now. Well, this is where we're going for it.
You didn't have time, did you?
No, we were. So it was this real sort of, not animalistic, because I don't think that would be primal sort of, primal timal is the new style where you've only got 19 minutes and you've got to knock it out quickly, but also want to enjoy yourself at the same time. So it was very much primal timal.
Yeah.
And then I came, and then Secret Stag came.
Yeah.
And you just went to sleep. I think that's fair, right?
Well, I was awake when I made him come. I'm not completely oblivious to that, because I was awake enough to tell him not to get it on the bed.
Yeah, the new bed must be protected at all times.
You dare get it on the bed. Yeah. Facts right here. However, yes. And then immediately after that, we once again were on the edge of just going straight to sleep.
I think we finished at the exact time that we were told to finish. So we made use of every second of that moment. Efficiency set to maximum.
There you go, folks. Swinging isn't necessarily like 4-hour orgies. Sometimes it can be achieved in a mere 19 minutes and still have the same output. And be just as hot, because actually putting a time limit and a curfew on something can actually be quite hot.
Yeah. That time limit's got to be fair. You can't be like, you get 3 minutes, that's your lot, because that's...
I wouldn't have been that harsh.
No, I know. That would have been mean. I mean, I would have been able to do it
twice.
Yeah, I could still do it twice, but that's fine. So that was our sort of sexy Saturday night, which was really fun. And we sort of all collapsed in a heap. And eventually they shuffled off to what we've now termed their room.
Yeah.
And I think they were asleep before I had hit the pillow, or
Absolutely blotto.
And we were all knackered. But the next day we'd booked a brunch
for 20 people, which was a moment of madness.
Well,
no, it's nice. I'm glad we did.
It was absolutely lovely. So we booked a brunch at like sort of 11 o'clock in the morning. So we literally rolled out of bed, had a quick shower, hosed everyone down and just wandered out. And it was so lovely just to see everyone, but also sort of hear about everyone's sort of tales of what they've been up to the night before.
That was
Some
amazing.
people had hooked up. And
one table particularly, not obviously going to name names, but I was so excited for the whole table.
There was some high fives.
It was a table of 4 people who had all had a great night. And I was so happy for them. It was like, this is amazing. This is why we do this. And not why we were there. We weren't there. But, well, not that they know. But it was really nice to hear that a night went really well.
Yeah.
And a new connection was formed.
And I really loved all of that sort of catching up with people. We were switching from table to table, just getting in the way of every waiter in the place, which was quite funny. But it was actually a really lovely way of just sort of reconnecting with everyone, making sure everyone was okay, everyone had a nice time, all this sort of stuff. Not everyone, because only 20 came along out of the 50 or whatever. But it was a really good means of just sort of tailing off the end of the social element for
I felt pretty good, actually. I don't know why, because I'd consumed a fair bit of booze and I hadn't had much sleep, but I actually felt fairly okay. And I think I was coasting away on the kind of adrenaline rush of having had a great night.
So as the brunch came to an end, the really cool thing was we had an extra bit of time that we could spend having some fun. And one of the things that had happened in the chat before the actual social was that Mr. Disney had put that he was going to go to the football game, kickball game, or whatever it's called these days. And I think it was one of Southampton's last games. I think he was very keen to watch Liverpool play.
Yeah.
So he'd managed to get a ticket to go see that.
Yeah.
As a result, he'd asked in the chat, did anyone want to look after Mrs. Disney? So we said...
Were you fastest finger first by any chance?
Well, we weren't fastest finger first, but I think we did reply and said, yeah, we're happy to catch up with her and look after her.
Oh no,
and
what
stuff.
a chore.
What a horrible, terrible chore. At the same time, we knew that Secret Stag and Secret Vixen were going to be sort of staying with us for the evening. And they had decided that they were going to go off and see Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Yes. Absolute classic, great film, highly recommend it.
Absolute Sobfest.
So, and then we could all regather round and catch up together in the evening. So this sounded like an absolute blast of a day to me.
A little bit.
What we didn't know, certainly until we caught up with the Disnerds on the Friday night, was kind of what we were doing with Mrs. Disnerd. Were we just having a cup of coffee? Were we going to take her out for a bite to eat? What was the deal? Are we just going to watch Disney films? These all sounded like delightful options, but it came really apparent that Mr. Disnerd was very keen for us to be sexy with her.
And Mrs. Disnerd was obviously keen as well.
Oh yeah, but I was leading into that. She seemed quite happy and quite amenable to the idea.
That's all right then.
So it was a really, really nice little chilled out afternoon. So she dropped him to the football, came back to ours.
Yeah.
While Secret Stag and Secret Vixen obviously went off and saw Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Great. And then we were able to take her upstairs to our new bed. What happened, dear? Tell us. My voice is going rapidly.
Oh my God. This is a roller coaster, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so we went upstairs and we all got naked pretty quick because it was really hot. Hot in a number of ways, I should say. It was really sunny, so it's really, really warm, and everyone was like, it's really warm. But also, it's nice to get naked on a Sunday. And I love a bit of hangover sex. If you have a hangover, for some reason, it's all a bit more exciting sometimes. At least I think so. Anyway, we got on the bed and we had Mrs. Disnerd in the middle of us, and we had a little 3-way naked cuddle, which is very nice. I like that you're looking at me salaciously over your microphone.
Well, what do you want me to say? I can nod, and my voice. I'm trying to conserve my voice because I know we've got more to talk about after this.
So we had a naked 3-way cuddle, and then we began kissing as a kind of 3, which is entirely possible. The 3 of you just kind of kissing, and I think I'm trying to remember you. There was definitely some action for you. A blowjob, maybe.
I think that both of you started going down on me.
Oh, we did.
You did.
Yes.
You did.
See, there you go. You've got good memory.
Yeah, I do have a good memory. I was hoping that you'd be able to say this and attempt to conserve my voice. But anyway, so after our 3-way kiss, you two started going down on me. And then what happened?
Then I think you might have gone down on her. Did you? I can't remember.
Is it just easier for me to tell this?
I can't remember what happened.
You're awful at this.
I remember all the stuff that happened, but not necessarily in the right order.
The order doesn't... I suppose for you, the order is very important. This is how you tell the story, isn't it?
Well, maybe. Yes, it's important.
All right. So we shared this 3-way kiss, and then...
You got a double blowjob.
In fact, you started going down on me, and then she joined you.
Yes.
And that was really hot, and I was sort of really enjoying all that sort of watching you two, but you were making out at the same time. And then she was going down on me, and then you were going...
Oh, I did. I sat on your face.
You sat on my face. There we go.
Hey, it's all coming back to me.
It's all coming back to you now.
Maybe.
And then, like, she was, as she was sucking me off, she was holding my balls. There was lots of stuff going on. It was all very exciting. And then we kind of switched around, and I started going down on her while she was playing with you.
Yes, that's right.
And at that point, you both came at the same time.
Yeah.
It was, I don't know whether our neighbours were in, but they would have heard whatever happened at that point.
It's really hot.
It was really, really sexy.
I always like it though when a woman makes me come. I can come really quickly as well, I find.
But when a woman's doing it. So why do you make it so much effort for me?
Oh, you can make me come quickly as well. You know you can.
Oh, I know. You just make me work for it.
I think I find a threesome, especially like a threesome with a woman and you, as one of my favourite dynamics. And it always makes me super turned on.
Yeah.
Like really turned on. And I find that actually climaxing is no difficulty whatsoever. I don't even think about it. I don't struggle in any way. I don't sort of go, oh my God, is it going to happen? It just happens.
Yeah.
And sometimes it happens a second time. And so for me, it's a really sexy dynamic.
And it was a really sort of passionate moment, I think. It was kind of all very fluid, very interactive, very responsive. And it was just really hot, actually, because I could see her playing with you while I'm going down on her. And then she came, and you came literally just at the same time. And then you did your normal, so, what would you like to do, Mrs. Disnerd? Yeah. And then you turned to me and
I asked if you would like to fuck her.
Yeah, which I did.
Sounds like you did.
I did, yeah. And that was really hot because you were lying next to us. Yeah. And you were sort of holding her hands whilst I was fucking her, and you were still sort of kissing her occasionally. It was a really, really sort of powerful image in my head. It was really hot and really sexy. And then we sort of chilled out, laid in bed for a bit.
Yeah.
And then she had to go and pick him up from the football. And then Secret Stag and Secret Vixen came back. Yeah, and we went and sat in the garden and had pizzas. I knocked out like 5 pizzas. I wonder you're going with that. I know, right? I knocked out. It wasn't a naughty evening. No. It was more of a catch up, reflect, and just enjoy the kind of really nice end to a really long weekend. But what I did love about that evening I remember that we took time out because we really wanted to just chill out and relax. Yeah. And I think by the end of the night, my stomach was aching from how much I laughed because we played a whole load of different games. We did some Jackbox stuff.
But Jackbox was so funny.
It transpires that Mrs. Disnerd has a fucking dark mind.
The stuff she was coming out with was so
just
funny.
Filthy and disgusting and terrifying at the same time, but also hilarious.
And then we played Gutterhead,
which if you've
never played is well worth an investment.
Sort of naughty Pictionary, I guess, is the best way to describe it. Girls versus boys. The boys won. It was amazing. The girls sucked.
We did not.
You
there
were
was
awful.
a level of cheating.
And there was no level of cheating.
There was extreme cheating because you lot were looking over at what we were drawing.
That's not cheating. You're allowed to do that. You're allowed to do it.
And shouting at the answers at the same time as us.
That's fine. That's perfectly fine and normal. But I will be using Secret Vixen's Tears as lube. She'll hunt me down and kick me for this.
But it was just the funniest. It was
such an amazingly funny night. And honestly, it absolutely perfectly rounded up the whole weekend for me because we'd had naughty times, we'd had adventures, we'd had people back, we had a threesome, which is one of your favourite things. You did a bit of watching, which you were enjoying.
Had no choice about.
You had no choice about, but I enjoyed watching, which is good.
I enjoy it, it's fine.
And then just to spend it with amazing friends, it really, really sort of wiped over the shitty memories of sort of, not the shitty memories, because I think that's doing it an injustice.
It is. It was more your perception of the night.
My perception of the night. It made me really sort of enjoy all of this stuff, and it made me feel like actually we're very, very lucky to have such amazing friends.
It cements the reasons why we do this, I think. When we're talking about why do we do this, what do we get out of it, this is why. I think when you have weekends like this, it's impossible not to take away the value that it adds to your relationship and your life and think, I want to do all that again.
Yeah.
Because it's tremendous. When it works and it's brilliant.
And it was such so many different elements to that. And, we hosted an event, we had people back, we hosted people at our house, and lots of the weekend was just us socialising with really great people.
Yeah, the sex is a great part of it, but it's not.
Especially when I'm doing it.
And it might underpin some of the events that happen, but it's possible to just hang out with awesome people of a like-minded nature and not have sex as well to enjoy yourself.
So the other thing that I want to talk about, the following weekend.
Oh, okay.
So I just want to touch on this because whilst that was the end of our sort of slutty weekend, we did go to another social the following weekend.
Oh, we did, yeah.
So we went to the Oxford social, or one of the Oxford socials. I think there's a few that go on.
There? I only know the one.
They've previously been run by other people and good friends of ours. Pop Rocks, I think it's Tigeroo or Tigeroo Stripe. And
Tiger Stripes.
Tiger Stripes? I don't know.
Tiger Stripes?
There's
definitely a tiger.
Yeah, and L&J UK. We'll put the link in the show notes so you can see the details. Anyway, they've been to many of our previous events. In fact, they came along to our social the week before, and they were hosting their own one.
Their first one.
The first one, the inaugural, is that the right word? I don't know.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, well, let's go with it. And they were hosting their first one, so we decided to go up there and support them and just sort of generally chill out. It was a really, really good event. Really fun. They put so much effort in. And honestly, that throuple have so much endless enthusiasm and so much sort of boundless time and energy just to sort of make make sure everyone has had a good time. And they had like really nice little snacks of food. They had like little goodie bags. They had little badges. They had ducks. It was all like plastic ducks. It was really, really good fun. And what was really nice as well for us, I think, was the fact that we could go to this and enjoy much of the same crowd because lots of people had been to our previous events. Not all of them, but many of them.
Yeah, quite a few.
But actually enjoy that as attendees and guests rather than hosts. So, and it was very nice just to be able to chill out, talk to people, catch up, do a little bit of making out with people, catch some swinger flu.
Let's cover that in a second then, shall we? So what I was going to say before we go into your behaviour is the fact that I love the events we host and I love hosting and I love hosting with you. But it does take it out of you.
It does.
Especially after quite a few events. And you're right, it was really nice to go to someone else's social and not worry about, is there anything going on I should know about? Do I have to, having to go to make sure every single person is okay, like checking things. It was just lovely to kick back and not have to worry.
100%.
You didn't even have to like move from your spot in a way.
And you really didn't.
Well, do you know what? I found a great spot, and there was quite a rotation of people coming and going to that because it was outside.
Yeah.
And it was really lovely outside as well because it was sunny and it was a nice warm evening and it was a great big table. So it was big enough that you could fit so many people around it. You didn't feel like you were, left out of anything by staying in that spot. And I did go inside a few times anyway, so screw you.
But also we were able to catch up with people that we haven't been able to catch up with normally. So we were lucky enough to have a bite to eat with Mr. and Mrs. C off of the Twitters. Again, I'll put a link in the show notes if you want that. And just be able to get to know them a bit better because they've been to some of our stuff.
Very scientific cocktails.
Oh yeah, we went to the Alchemist where it was all bubbles and there was an egg
Science.
thing that I swear you're not supposed to eat.
Oh my God, no, the tongue.
And a weird silicone tongue that they give you with one drink.
Tongue.
It was all a bit weird, but it was a really fun little night and it was really nice getting to know them better because lots of friends know them, but we've not really had time to sort of sit down and properly chat to them and sort of get to know them better.
It was really, really lovely. And it was lovely to see a few new faces as well at the social that obviously we wouldn't have met before.
Yeah.
But also, some of the great people that come to many of our events.
You know what? I still had social regret. And I think we've never...
Social regret?
Social regret. And that I didn't manage to speak to everybody. And I still want to go around and talk to people. And if I don't do that, I still feel bad through not having done it. But actually, I'm like, fuck them. You can only do so much. It's not my event. And I talked to people as I saw them.
You missed a classic moment, I have to say. I went inside at one point and spoke to Briz couple.
Yep.
I think that's what they're called on Twitter as well. And she looked amazing. Oh, he looked amazing too, granted. But she looked incredible because she was wearing this dress that reminded me of the fruit pastels, ice lollies, or the Zoom lollies or whatever, or the twisters, or basically a brightly coloured cylindrical ice lolly. And I went up to her and said, "Oh my God, you literally look like the best ice lolly that someone would eat inappropriately at work." Those lollies that no one knows how to eat without looking like they're just noshing someone off.
Well, I can assure you that they have remembered this and then posted about it on Twitter today.
It was really sweet. Oh, she looked amazing. And I was like, you literally look like one of those lollies. And actually that came across a bit pervy, didn't it? Because it might have implied that I wanted to.
You're always a bit pervy anyway, dear. I think I really wanted to catch up with them and I just didn't get around to it. And I think they left a bit early and it's always nice to hear
it's
a West
impossible
Country
to get
accent.
around everyone. It really is. But...
And it's impossible to know everything that goes on. And it's like so much stuff going on and like what things are happening in one corner and then you hear about a whole different thing in another like room and you're like, oh my God, there was a photo booth and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's impossible to do everything.
But it was lovely.
But I really enjoy the opportunity to just chill out and not worry about having to host.
How about the opportunity to kiss a million women?
I didn't kiss a million women.
All right, how many did you kiss them? Should we say 8?
No, it wasn't 8. It was nowhere near 8.
Me think you doth protest too much.
I think it was, hang on, let me do some basic math here. Maybe 4.
Lies.
No, it was 4, I think. I think it was 4.
I am definitely counting at least 6.
6?
You're the one sat with Swinger Flu.
Well, this is the thing, but I'm pretty sure it was only 4.
I'm pretty sure it wasn't.
Well, I'm pretty sure it is. Anyway.
It was a number between 1 and 10.
Well, yeah, it was definitely less than 10.
It was definitely more than 5.
But no, I don't think it was more than 5. I don't think it was.
It really was.
Well,
but you look like you're having a good night. So.
I was having a good night, as were you. And don't pretend that you were all innocent and not making out with people.
I wasn't innocent, but I was innocent with less than 5 people.
Oh, okay. Is that what it's about? Well, maybe I was just sort of balancing out from your behaviour the previous week. So I definitely think it was less than 5 or 6.
Okay. Well, we'll have to move on from that.
Yeah.
Because it's not.
It really is. But that's fine. I understand that you've imagined stuff in your head. It doesn't matter
because, as I said, I'm the one sitting here with no cold and you're the one sitting here with Swinger Flu.
Well, I might have just picked up a cold from a random circumstance.
Basically karma. No, you woke up like 4 hours later going,
that could have been the air conditioning in the room. Could have been the air conditioning in the room.
Anyway.
It's possible.
It was a great night.
What I would say is that they did a smashing job of hosting.
And I think they're going to do another one.
I think they're going to do another one. And we're going to chat to them to make sure we don't have any clashes and all that sort of stuff. But if you get the chance, go along to theirs, come along to ours. It's a shared community pretty much. Lots of people go to both. So yeah.
Also, come to the penthouse party and 15 July, and you can see them yourself.
Yes, you can see them 3 people.
Yes.
And probably make out with them. We make no guarantee of it, but I'm sure if you ask them nicely, they'd be open to the idea.
Yeah.
You know.
So they're going.
We're whoring them out now for the sake of party tickets. And you can ask them yourself
about their social plans.
You can ask them direct how many people I made out with.
Ah.
There you go.
Well, here's a chance to find out.
Go back to the CCTV and figure it out again. Anyways, so yeah, get in touch with them, come along to their events, come along to our events. And that'll be absolutely awesome. It was really nice, actually. The next day, we were able to chill out and hang around with Mr. and Mrs. C again and have a really nice little lunch at a pub.
That was lovely.
And that really rounded off the weekend marvellously. So overall, I think it's, we had that really slutty weekend.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Yep. Great.
Weekend.
Didn't get swinger flu that weekend. The old Oxford Social was really cool, really good fun. Really recommend it. Did get swinger flu, but probably, or air conditioned flu, or just happened to get a bit of flu at the same time.
Oh, and a funny anecdote about that. The afternoon before we went for social, we went, just you and I, went and had a pre-drink when we checked into our tiny hotel.
Oh, yeah.
To a little wine bar that was a stone's throw away from the hotel where we were staying. And there wasn't really much, and we didn't have time to go too far, but we wandered over and saw this very, very cute looking little wine bar. And there was like tables and chairs outside on the pavement. So we went over and the place was literally empty, apart from a table next to us with a dog. There was more than the dog. The dog wasn't there on its own, but there were people there too.
Okay.
Anyway, we went and it looked really nice and it had a great wine list. It was like one of those tomes that they give you, and it's like New Zealand wines and Chilean wines.
So you'd say that by having a bottle,
French wines,
we were a tome raider.
Can I just have a bottle of Blue Nun, please? No, it's always reassuring when they give you this like beautifully like leather-bound tome of wines. I'm like, brilliant, let's go and do this. So we had a bottle of wine together, which was lovely. But then, fuck me, the waiter comes out and oh my God, it's like your long lost friends from some fucking wine club.
He wasn't really. I've never met him before. You know this, right?
Well, he stayed with us for the entire duration of our wine date. I swear you must have swapped numbers.
No, we did.
I was tempted to ask him along for social so we could continue this decadent stroll through the vineyards of fucking Chile.
So I just started chatting to him, and I think I kind of locked in on that.
You found a kindred spirit.
Not just a kindred, or spirit being the opposite word.
He found you a kindred spirit,
yeah, he did.
and he brought it out to you on the pavement.
Exactly. I think it was just a case of sometimes when you go to a social or an event, you get into that spirit of just chatting, and you like the sort of heavens align, and you skill to just waffle on about stuff and have an engaging conversation. He had the same skill, it seems. He did very much so. But it was just for me that and I did tell you, I was like, I'm pre-socialing. I'm getting into the zone, and the conversation was flowing so easily. I'm like, this is going to be great. So when we go to the social, I'll be like totally on point. I'm fine, and I was. But it was just that sort of strange moment where. Because sometimes I feel nervous about like going to an event or a social or whatever and just chatting to all these people, and it's not easy always to start these conversations. But actually, I kind of hit the zone really early, and then I was fine throughout the course of the evening.
It was so funny though. He was you were waxing lyrical about cocktails that you both liked, and he must have been in his element because the place was deserted, and he probably thought, this is amazing. I get to talk about wine and get to talk about cocktails. Then he starts bringing out this little taster of a wine that he was talking about, a tomato wine.
Tomato-based spirit from Japan, I think.
Describe it to you, and he said, "Tell you what, I'll go and get the bottle and show you the bottle." But then he comes out with an actual little glass, and he put a little bit in there, and then you were sat on the pavement like smelling this glass and quaffing this little sample that he bought you. And I was sitting there catching Pokemon because obviously there was an event, and I was just like, okay. Just crack on. You just crack on and enjoy your wine tour with this individual. It's fine.
Well,
and I'll sit here and catch my Pokemon on the streets of Oxford.
Honestly, it was just a really lovely 24 hours, I think.
We had some olives and we sat and enjoyed our wine.
Yeah. And we got 5 minutes to talk to each other before we had to go. I think we spent so much time I spent so much time chatting to that guy and consuming the wine that we didn't really have very much time to get ready and go.
No, I know. It's funny.
It was a really lovely weekend. In fact, both weekends were absolutely perfect, and I couldn't ask for more.
Well, I think I'll stick with you for a bit longer.
For a bit longer.
I enjoyed my weekends. Thank you.
Okay. Well, coming up on the podcast, not this episode, but in future ones, we're going to have a think about some nice questions for each other. Hopefully going to have some guests.
Are you going to tell me what I need to think about in advance?
No,
or
I'm just going to rock up and just ask you the questions.
Are you going to draw a Pokemon and I have to guess what it is?
No, because that wouldn't really work for an audio format. But anyway, Mrs. H, do you want to do your thing?
I do. Well, thank you for hopping into our bed.
Isn't it?
I reckon you should launch your Mr. H sex line now. I could launch my sex line if you prefer.
Your sex line? What's your sex line about?
It's pretty sensitive because I
don't say... Is it called Pokemon?
Because I don't say the words that people want to hear.
I do not?
No.
What words?
I'll say it for the benefit of this,
right,
which is pussy.
Pussy.
I don't like that. I don't like the way you're saying it. Stop it. I don't like it.
Pussy juice.
No, absolutely not. That is... absolutely gross, and if anything, it's going to disappear inside me.
Minge.
So I can live with minge. It's quite colloquial. I don't mind that.
Lunge.
No.
Blancmange.
Blancmange?
Yeah, I just
what are you doing with blancmange?
What am I not doing with blancmange?
Oh, that's very retro. When have you last had blancmange?
It's essentially trifle.
No.
Same thing?
No, it's very different. Trifle is custard.
What's that?
Blancmange is different.
Okay.
It's I used to have it as a kid.
Did you?
For pudding.
All right.
Yeah. I used to have other things too, like Arctic roll.
And a lump of coal and orange for Christmas.
But blancmange is like super retro.
Okay.
Yeah. Right, blancmange and jelly.
All right.
But custard belongs in trifle, not blancmange.
You know where custard belongs?